Hey Wargamers, it's time that we finally get back into doing Army List reviews, so that's what we're doing today. This is the first of 3 Army List reviews that I will be doing in the near future here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Basically, one of the things I do for my patrons over on Patreon is do this type of video where I look at an Army List that they send me and give my feedback on it, and then basically revise that list and come out with a new product at the end. So today we're going to be looking at a list for Christopher. It's supposed to be kind of an all-comers list. It's a 3 detachment, 2,000 point list, a Vanguard, and 2 battalions. So with the FAQ, that's a ton of CP. Yeah, so we'll kind of go through the original list here, talk about it, and then I'll show you the revised one in a couple minutes. Alright, so starting with the Vanguard Detachment, this is a Vior Law detachment. It has a commander and a cold star with 3 fusion blasters, and then the thermoneutronic projector, which is the special flamer. It's also his warlord. In general, I really like this loadout. I've been using a lot, and it works really well. It does suffer quite a bit from the FAQ, not because it's directly impacted by not being able to deep strike, because it doesn't need to deep strike, but it suffers because you can't deep strike drones alongside of it to support it on turn 1. You have to either use something like Evara or Riptide or some mobile unit to block for it in turn 1, or you have to wait and basically bide your time until turn 2 to really strike at that sensitive target. So I like this. You could easily switch this out for a 4 fusion blaster suit instead, and potentially have more generalizable results, more consistent results, because you don't have to worry about getting in range for that flamer. In elites, there's a Firesight Marksman. Marksman, especially because now you can only take 3 Fireblades, are pretty valuable. They're still going to be a reliable marker light source. That's a character, and that's huge. I think marksmen are more valuable now than ever, but not necessarily necessary for the list. Yeah, so the next elite choice is a unit of stealth suits, 3 with burst cannon, 1 with a fusion blaster. The thing about fusion blasters on stealth suits is that it's always just 1 fusion blaster, and yes, that can make a difference, but in general, it's just so unreliable. It's 1 fusion blaster. It seems like it's more trouble than it's worth most of the time, and you aren't necessarily going to have these guys in a position where that fusion blaster is really going to be beneficial anyway. You're going to probably going to be using them more as a blocking unit or something like that, and not necessarily for their firepower. So the fusion blaster on the stealth suit is always something that I think is a little bit of a red herring, unless you're really building your list to focus on that. So I would stay away from that. 3 crisis suits with trip cyclic ion blasters each. I love crisis suits. They're the reason why I started playing, but they're just not really viable in this edition. There's still not a good reason to take them. Cyclic ion blasters got a lot better because they have a static output now, but they're still really expensive for the platform, so I would tend to stay away from that. For that cost, you can get a Riptide, which is going to be a better unit. So I'd stay away from that. Fast attack tactical drones. Gun drones are good. I would, especially given some of the changes that I'm going to be making to this list, I would go with shield drones. So that's the Vior Law Vanguard Detachment. Next, we're moving into a a Sakia battalion. And again, this is 5 CP now instead of 3, so you're really rolling in the CP here. And Sakia is one of those SEP choices that I know some people swear by. I haven't had a ton of experience using it, so consider that at this point. But really, I just don't see the benefits of Sakia really outweighing the benefits of some of these other SEPs, particularly Vero Law, Borkan, and Tau. So yeah, I mean, I think the way to use Sakia is for single model units, and there are certainly some of those in this detachment. But I kind of like the Sakia SEP being used for a unit that consists of like 3 marksmen and a fireblade or something like that, and not necessarily spreading out across a bunch of other types of units. So here we have a fireblade, which again works here. It has a Puretat engram Neuro chip, which is a solid choice. I think pretty much every Tau list should have the engram Neuro chip, just because it's that good. The Commander Enforcer battlesuit with cyclic ion blasters and multi-tracker. Again, this is probably a pretty good loadout, right? Like, you can't alpha strike with a fusion blaster commander anymore. So having the cyclic ion blasters on there is potentially a little bit more flexible. Yes, you're still constrained in movements in the same way, and the range on the cyclic ion is the same as a fusion blaster, but perhaps this is a little bit more useful for the targets that you're going to be able to basically run up and shoot turn 1 or something like that. So I think that's a fine loadout. Troops, 5 fire warriors, pulse rifles, that's fine. Make sure that you include the Shazui in those. Elites, Firesight Marksman, again, that's a good choice for Sakia. Pathfinders, I think are good, especially for the reason why Pathfinders are valuable compared to Marksmen and Fireblades is not because there's more of them, it's because they have their scout move. And that's I guess less valuable now because of the changes to deep striking, but it's still very valuable for infiltrator armies. So being able to avoid infiltrators helps a lot with Pathfinders. Well, I guess I should... Okay, you know what? Never mind, because the Pathfinder scout move happens after deployment, so yeah, forget that. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so Pathfinder still, having the ability to advance up the board, get board control, still valuable, just not as much as it used to be. Heavy support sniper drones, a unit of 5 sniper drones. Sniper drones, they don't have very good leadership is part of the problem, and so they're vulnerable to morale. I don't really like having units of 5 sniper drones because they could just run away, but 5 sniper drones is definitely the maximum I would take. I don't think that number of shots, though, is going to really do anything for you, and I think they're better in something like a Tau detachment or a Borkan detachment where they're really getting benefits from those SEP tenets. For the SEP tenet for Tau helps them, obviously. You can use that in conjunction with the focus fire stratagem to really boost out some mortal wounds. You can use them with Borkan and have a little bit extra range for rapid fire. But for Sakia, you're really not getting a huge benefit for sniper drones. The same thing with broadsides. So broadsides with smart missile systems, drone controller, heavy rail rifle. I guess the heavy rail rifle is benefit quite a bit by being able to reroll, because that's one of the big weaknesses is the low shot count, so that does help. But overall, I think they are not going to pull their weight quite as much as you want, especially with the inclusion of the missile drones. Missile drones are not necessarily really going to do what you want them to do, and I would rather spend the points on shield drones or gun drones, something that if it dies, I'm not out 20 points. The drone controller helps, but again, I think these guys are going to be targeted enough that you'll want to have a shield generator on them instead. or something else, shield generator, target lock, advanced targeting system, any of those three, instead of a drone controller. The final detachment is a TauOswell battalion. Has a Fireblade, another Enforcer battlesuit with cyclic ion blasters, 3 strike teams, and then a Riptide with ATS, heavy burst cannon, smart missile system, and target lock, which I think is the way to run a Riptide. I like the Riptide in TauOswell. Borkan is also an acceptable selection there too, but yeah, I mean I think this is a fine detachment. I like it. I would shift some of these other units into the TauOswell though. You're not going to really get that much mileage out of something like Focus Fire, which is a benefit of TauOswell. You're not taking advantage of any of the special characters here, and both of those things are big draws for TauOswell. So I think you're leaving a little bit on the table by not capitalizing on those. So moving some stuff into the TauOswell detachment, I think, will be better, just because it means that you have more things to shoot at using the Focus Fire stratagem. Okay, so that's my initial impression on this preliminary list. Let's take a look at the revised version. Okay, so for the revised list, I transitioned it into a Viewer Borkan list, still with Vanguard and 2 battalion detachments. So again, starting with the Vanguard, this is a Borkan detachment. Retained that commander with the cyclic ion blasters and multi-tracker. At this point, I added in an ethereal, partially because I am maxed out on Fireblades, I think, but also because there's a fair amount of suits and infantry in this list that are going to benefit from having a Feel No Pain. So the ethereal will help with that, at least on turn 1, and mitigate some losses that you might get from heavy hitting Alpha Strike type stuff. So yeah, so the ethereal's in there. Then I have 2 Riptides equipped as the previous Riptide was, so smart missile system, ATS, heavy burst cannon, target lock, and then a ghost keel. The ghost keel kind of goes with some of the same principles that some of the other units in the previous list were looking to do, but I think the ghost keel is going to help in some more diverse ways and also give you a little bit more flexibility. It also, notably in this case, is equipped with all fusion. Normally, I'm pretty lukewarm on the fusion loadout, but there's not a ton of fusion in this list, and so we need to figure out a way to get it in there. And if we're going with Enforcer suits with cyclic ion, we need to find it somewhere else. So Ghost Keel with fusion blasters is going to be able to help us out with that. I give him a shield generator to kind of give him a little bit more durability. And he's going to not only offer some fusion, but he's also going to give us early game board control, which is great. He's also going to interact with some of the other guys that we have in this list, namely stealth suits, in some useful ways. The next detachment is a Viewer battalion. This is the retention of the Viewer sept tenet in the list. Here I have a Fireblade and a Cold Star. Again, the Cold Star is equipped just as it was before, because I do like that loadout. Then we have 3 strike teams. Again, this time I brought in the Shazui to make that explicit. And then for elites, we have 2 units of stealth suits. Stealth suits, because they are infantry, are going to be able to, well, not because they're infantry, but stealth suits are fairly mobile, especially when they're in Viewer Law. They're going to be able to advance and still fire their burst cannons without issue. And I think that's a pretty useful tactic, especially on a advanced placement unit like stealth suits. They're not taking AP Bio or Physics or anything like that. They're being deployed as infiltrators, and so being able to have them be pretty agile on the board can make a big difference early game. And snowball into success later on as well. So having them there and being able to run around, grab objectives, not have any type of issue with their shooting, interacting with the ghost keel to use Wall of Mirrors, these types of things I think are some nice synergy into this list, and that's why I like stealth suits in Viewer Law. I keep 2 units of Pathfinders here, and I also give them Pulse Accelerator drones so that they can lend their accelerating powers to the pulse rifles for the Fire Warrior teams. It's important to note that the Pulse Accelerator drone affects Tau Empire units, not Sept units. So you can have a Viewer Law Pathfinder team and a Viewer Law Pulse Accelerator drone, boosting the abilities of Borkan Fire Warriors. Yes. So, and Pathfinders again are going to be another unit that benefit from Viewer Law because they're going to be able to, use their advanced roll and still fire their carbines without issue. No, they're not going to be able to fire their marker lights without issue because those are heavy weapons. But in a pinch, they're going to have some nice utility there. Additionally, they are going to benefit from the, I think it's hot-blooded stratagem that allows them to fire twice. So you can fire twice at the closest enemy. So you can basically load up a target with marker lights using that stratagem for Pathfinders, Viewer Law Pathfinders, which I think has some nice play in it as well. Moving on to the final detachment, it's a battalion for Borkan, and these are where the other 2 Fireblades remain. We also have our 3rd commander here with Cyclic Ion Blaster. I also had a few extra points left over, so he's toting his own shield drones because we need to find ways to get drones into lists if we can only bring 3 tactical drone units. We need to use these upgrade units to bulk up the list because you don't want to bring like a unit of 8 shield drones because, like I said, as soon as you start using savior protocols, you're going to basically kill the rest of the unit in morale phase. So yeah, these little upgrade units can be useful for that. We have the standard 3 units of 5 Fire Warriors, and actually 2 of them have 6 because, again, a little bit extra points. We want to bulk up these Borkan Fire Warrior units so that we can get even more shots at a reasonable range. So we have 32 Fire Warriors here. That is going to be 96 shots at 18 inches, just based on being Borkan, and then 96 shots at 21 inches using the Pulse Accelerator drone. So that's nothing to scoff at, right? That's a lot of shots at a reasonable range. Then moving on to fast attack, we have our 3 units of shield drones, and these are here in order to help out those Riptides that we had before, as well as the ghost kill in a pinch. So we had these units of Riptides and the ghost kill up here. They need support. They're going to do a lot of heavy lifting, but only if they're on the table, and the way to make them stay on the table is by bringing enough drones. So between the Riptides, the ghost kill, the commanders, and a huge block of infantry, including stealth suits, pathfinders, and strike teams, you're going to have an army that can take on a diverse set of opponents. The volume of fire alone is going to be effective in a lot of situations, and then you have more specialized weapons like the cyclic ion blasters, like the fusion collider, like the heavy burst cannon that can help you out in more constrained environments. But again, cyclic ion blasters, heavy burst cannons, those are also pretty generalist weapons. They're going to do a number on a lot of different things, from infantry blobs to knights. So they are going to do a fair amount of lifting, but you need to support them. So that's what this list is built around, is giving you some protection early on with blocking units like these stealth suits, the ghost keel, and then having just really good, I think this list has fairly good board presence and a lot of tactical options in terms of deployment, maneuvering, and targeting. So both of these lists will be on the Invasive Wargaming Facebook page, so you can take a look at them in more detail. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I know the audio quality here is a little, subpar, but part of the transition into the new studio is dealing with some stuff like this. So we will continue to look at the other lists that I have. So if you have a list in my hands already, fear not, you are going to get a video very soon addressing your list. And if you want to join our community of list reviewing and other things, head on over to Patreon and check it out. Lots of different types of rewards there. So thanks for watching, and as always, happy wargaming. Hey everyone, this video was made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you like this video, consider heading on over to Patreon and joining our community there. Special thanks to NoExcusesPanda, Jordan, Paul Leuders, Giovanni DiMaggio, TauOswell, Deverson, Jared Egeler, Nick Steele, Max Harrison, and Youhei Penguin.